and welcome to Horror Movies and Shit. I'm your host, Jim, and with me as always is...
Bark.
Mark, how are you?
No, it's Bark, Jim.
No, it's Bork, remember?
No, but it will be Bark for this episode.
Oh, God. You want to tell us why?
No, we will discuss that in a second.
No, I'm asking you to tell me why.
Nah, well, fuck you.
Yeah. I don't know why I put up with this shit.
I'm not your little bitch, Jim.
He's only saying that because I used that line on him on Facebook this week. So
No, I say that all the time.
Honestly. I know. Yeah. So, Mark, we have a special guest today. Do you want to tell us who he is?
We do. We have Devon Oman. How do you... I probably butchered that twice, so...
No, you nailed it. You actually did a good job.
It's my Northern Irish accent. I get the low...
That'll only come up 30 more times during this interview, just so you know.
So, yes, Jim, do you want to introduce Devon, what he's done, and why I said Bark?
You tell us why you said Bark.
Oh, shut up. Just go ahead.
So, Devon, you are with Dead Prairies Productions. You are an independent filmmaker, right?
Yes.
But you also do escape rooms, if I read your Facebook correctly?
We do horror events like escape rooms, haunted houses, and we bring old classic horror films back to the theater, and we make our own films, and most of the proceeds go to SPCA. If we show any movies at the Lyceum Theater in Gull Lake, all the money goes to them guys because they're nonprofit as well.
Okay. That is pretty freaking awesome.
And myself and Jim are huge dog fans. As Jim will attest, whenever he came around to my house, and one of my dogs, who senses evil, just nonstop barked at Jim.
Because, she did. Yeah. She did, and I thought we were friends, but, apparently not.
She senses evil, Jim.
Yes, Mark, I know. But yet she still lives with it every day. So, Mark, why did you change your name today?
To Bark? Because of the SPCA. Because Devon is awesome. I was telling my wife, I was looking up some of the information about Dead Prairies. I'm like, oh my God, they give like so much money to the SPCA. And like, we're big dog lovers and we get all our dogs from shelters. So yeah, it's just awesome. So it's horror and dogs and not dogs being killed in a horror movie. So right. That's awesome.
That is
right combo.
Yeah. So Devon, tell us how did Dead Prairies come around?
Dead Prairies Productions started in 2012, but if I want to go in the back history of filmmaking, I did some films when I was a kid, and I'd basically use my action figures, my dogs, or my brother, or my parents, just to film some cheesy horror films, anything I can get my hands on, basically. And then in high school, I met a few friends there. We started filming like $0 budget films about killer doors and killer puddles and all these ridiculous ideas.
That's great.
And then I met a friend outside of high school, Bob Taylor, and we bonded on horror movies quite a bit. We watched a cheesy horror film called Bachelor Party of the Bungalow Damned.
Interesting.
And I think we were watching it. We're like, oh, if these guys can do it, I think we can do something too. So then we're like, let's make a full-length horror film. And our first full-length horror film was Zombageddon 1 in 2012. And at the start, it was going to be like me and Bob and a few friends playing the zombies, the hunters, and everything. But then we're like, you know what? Let's make a poster. And it's going to be Uncle Sam as a zombie saying, "We want you." And a lot of people seen those posters around town. We got attention. We were on the radio after that, advertising that we need actors and zombie extras. It blew up, like it skyrocketed. People were interviewing us from like SaskTel and Shaw and CBC and all this other places because it was like the first film in Swift Current. It became a big deal. We had about 100 to 150 zombie extras, I'd say.
Wow.
And yeah, it blew up. It was like... It crazy how it went from just a simple idea to something big.
Right. How did you do the makeup for that many people? Like that's huge. That's a huge logistics feat, right?
Yeah, we had a few different makeup artists in Zombageddon 1. I'd say it's been a few years now, so it's hard to remember the exact amount, but like 8 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
and they were all volunteer based because nobody makes money from these films,
Right.
and all the money goes to SPCA. So everybody was down for that. We had different makeup. We didn't have like anything too wild. I'd say like more like the George Romero older zombie films like that.
Okay.
More not detailed zombies, but
Like the grayscale and the.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's kind of cool, though. I mean, I imagine, especially with doing a minimal budget film, that can be definitely a challenge trying to accomplish things with makeup and that kind of stuff.
Oh, definitely. That was a huge task. I think Zomageddon was about $700 to $800 budget,
Wow.
and that was like our highest budget film, I'd say.
Wow. That's that's pretty intense, I'm sure. So what does the script part look like? Like how do you flesh out an entire script for this?
Basically, we started off as me and Bob that wrote Zomageddon, and we didn't really have any script writing talent back then.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked to this girl that is pretty famous in Swift Current for script writing, Wendy Lockman, and she jumped aboard and she looked at our script and basically polished it up and gave us better pointers in that. And it actually helped myself even as a writer now.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's cool. I now know more of the structure of screenwriting. So, and after Sawmageddon, we did Swift Nightmares 1, and that had like 3 different writers, and Sin Volume 1 and 2 after that was a few different writers as well. And Redneck Betty's the movie, which is a mockumentary, not a horror film. Our
Right.
only non-horror film is kind of like Spinal Tap, if anybody's familiar with the Spinal Tap movie.
We are. Mm-hmm.
Turned up to 11.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So we did that, but like for roller derby in town here. So it's kind of neat.
Is there an homage to Stonehenge?
No, no.
Oh, damn.
Sorry.
That's okay. That was my favorite scene. Was the little people dancing around Stonehenge. It was freaking awesome. I love that part.
Such a classic film.
It is.
So after that one, I started to write the films mainly by myself. But the cool thing about that is I write the script, I bring it to set, I show my actors, and they can actually improv lines. They can change up as much as they want, pretty much, as long as the storyline doesn't change, is my main thing I tell them.
Okay. What is it, or why were you drawn to the horror genre even as a kid, though? What was it that brought you over to that side?
Brought me to the dark side.
Yeah.
My parents were huge into horror films, I'd say.
Yep.
They were a huge influence on what I do nowadays. My dad was more into like Nightmare on Elm Street, Michael Myers from Halloween, and Friday the 13th. Those like classic slasher films.
Right.
And my mom was more into like Alfred Hitchcock with like Psycho and the Birds. And I love all genres. I can watch a film about aliens. I can watch a film about Killer Snowman. I don't care. I will watch anything basically.
Jack Frost is amazing.
Yeah, Jack Frost is so good.
Will Cats there?
Pardon me?
Will you watch Cats?
I've never seen Cats.
That recent Abomination, Jim's probably a huge fan. He's a big musical fan, so.
I am a musical fan. I'm not that musical fan, though.
I prefer dogs over cats anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. So, how do you come up with the ideas for your film? Like, what was the inspiration for Zomageddon?
Zomageddon, I think, was because of our love for Return of the Living Dead, and Walking Dead was quite big back in that time.
Right.
And that definitely helped us a lot because a lot of people were big into zombies in that era. And that's totally because of Walking Dead. It brought back life to the dead, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So that influenced us to do a zombie film. And yeah, I don't know, we did more of the George Romero slow zombies that didn't have the brain power.
Yeah.
and the speed.
That's fair. So I forget. Actually, hold on one second. me pull my note real quick.
I can jump in as you're doing that. So, Devon, I looked up you on IMDb. So, there's only one review for one of your movies. It's The Killer Balloon. Have you seen the review for it?
I have. Actually, if you go on Google, there's a few people reviewed it. It's interesting. I love it. I appreciate it. All the reviews I've read for Killer Balloon, I totally agree and I totally understand. And they've been all positive.
Yeah, the review is glowing, and I guess you won an award at Terrible Fest.
Yes.
And it says, when we say terrible, we mean it with love, right? Because low budget horror is kind of meant to be terrible, but in an entertaining way. The worst thing you can do with a movie, big budget, low budget, is for it to be boring.
Right.
So, some of my favorite movies are absolutely awful but brilliant.
I love the B movies. I've always had a soft spot for the B movies like Jack Frost, Uncle Sam, Ghoulies, Demonic Toys, Puppet Master. If you've seen that Full Moon Pictures logo on the back, I was going to rent that VHS tape, basically.
Nice. How do you feel about the Ghoulies reboot coming out?
I'm down for it, as long as it's not the Ghoulies 4.
Yeah.
What about the Toxic Avenger remake coming out with Peter Dinklage in it?
Oh, amazing, man. The casting for Toxic Avenger remake has Kevin Bacon, Elijah Wood, which I appreciate their acting so much. And those two together be on the same scenes are going to blow my mind, I think.
Elijah Wood's a huge horror nerd, too.
Yes, I love that.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's great, personally. So you have two anthology series, right? For movies?
We have got Swift Nightmares and Road Trip, The Cursed Tales.
What was the inspiration to do an anthology series?
Once again, I love those kind of films like Creepshow and Tales from the Dark Side and Tales from the Crypt. I've always been a fan of that style. And then there's some movies where they're meant to be short instead of long, I find. Yep. And I was like, I have a good idea, but I don't think it's worth being a full-length film.
Okay, that's fair.
And I think Hollywood has to take note of that. Like, make the movie as long as it needs to be.
Yep.
Every movie needs to be 3 hours or an hour and a half. It can be a 30-minute thing, right? And that's all you need.
Yes.
So that's why I think anthologies, it's always a mixed bag, right? I mean, there's very few anthologies where every single one is a winner. But usually, the good ones, there's maybe one that's like, but the rest just make up for it. So,
unless it's the VHS series, I don't like any of those.
VHS 2 is fantastic.
Come on, buddy.
No, I love those films. Even like the Trick or Treats is one of those amazing films.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm being interrupted. I just got somebody abandoned him, and my mother picked him up, but she can't keep him because he was fighting with her Great Dane.
Oh no!
So he's here now.
Who's winning in that fight, Jim?
He wouldn't be here if he was winning. I'm just saying. But he's a good little guy. He's just afraid. He's only been here 2 days so far. Come on down. Get on your bike. Oh, there you go.
I love the Killer Clowns backdrop there, the toy. I love it.
I raid Spirit when everything goes 75% off.
Perfect time to do it.
Exactly.
I met the Chiodo brothers at a convention.
Mark, it's not a competition.
Well, it is. And they signed like a huge poster which they designed. Awesome.
That's awesome. I heard they're nice guys.
Oh, they were totally nice. And back at that time, there was rumblings about a TV series being made about it, but that never came to fruition. So
let's talk about artwork. All of your artwork is. Do you have the same artist for every cover?
It's been changed up a few times actually. So even myself, I've done a few in the past, and a few of my friends have done some. It varies basically, but I usually throw the ideas out to the person. I'm like, hey, like the new one, Gorfer's Final Gnaw. I was like,
Love
I
it.
want to spoof a movie. Let's do Friday 13th. Jason Takes Manhattan,
Yeah.
because Jason has been dying a few times in final chapters, and
Yeah.
Jason goes to hell and Jason final chapter.
Right.
So I think let's do that. And like, if you've seen the other posters for Gorfers, number 1 was spoofing Tremors, obviously.
Yep.
And then number 2 is spoofing Ghoulies too, with them being in the toilets.
It kind of reminded me of Zombievers, just kind of
Yes.
the mashing of those titles, like Gore.
Zombievers was actually I think it came out in 2015 as well, I believe. And that
Sounds right.
actually influenced me with the Gorfer movies.
So
all of your covers though are like artistically they're very similar, and I think it's fantastic because they will look great lined up on a shelf. I'm not gonna lie.
There's some ones that I made in the past that were kind of but then lately they've been pretty phenomenal, and I've actually made a few for my walls just because they turned out cool.
That's awesome.
So, Devon, I have an idea for a movie. I don't know if you have the budget for it, though.
Oh, God.
It's called Tarantula Avalanche. It's about an avalanche of tarantulas that come down. And,
I feel like that's already been done.
No, there was lava. It was like tarantula.
Lava spiders.
Something like that. No, Tarantula Avalanche. So you can take that for free. It will not copyright you at all.
As long as I can make it for $200, I'm good.
It's got a whole bunch of like little plastic spiders and throw them down a hill.
It probably would be.
And that's okay. That works in some instances for sure. It's got to be better than the movie I watched today. I watched Ouija Shark 2 versus Terrogator.
Never seen that one.
So, oh my God.
So here's the thing about bad movies, right? It's hard to make a good bad movie on purpose. It is. Right? And I think like the Sci-Fi Channel back in the early days kind of nailed it.
Yep.
Because they didn't know what they were doing. And then after a while, they were like, oh, okay, Sharknado and this and that, whatever. It's like whenever you really, really like put a lot of effort into making something, quote unquote, like a cult or a bad it's good movie, most of the time it doesn't work. You have to be legitimately like either incompetent or really good at what you're doing.
Right.
It's one of the two.
That's very fun with it too, right? You can tell sometimes on being behind the scenes and watching those films that you can tell that they had a blast on set, and that's what sometimes makes the film.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Even if the movie's not great, if the actors are having fun, it really makes up for it because the energy is so top notch. I absolutely agree with that. Mark, you going to be an actor?
I've got a face for radio, Jim.
You're funny guy.
So,
so how can people find you, Devon, on social media?
They can find us on all social media platforms like TikTok and Facebook, Instagram. We have all those pages up, and we have an online store for DVDs that are $10 each, and the proceeds go to SPCA for any of the DVDs. I can ship anywhere. We shipped a movie to Japan a few years ago for Killer Balloon, actually.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was looking at that. I was making a plan on how I was going to spend my paycheck this week.
Nice.
I do. I love these. I love, like, I'm not kidding when I say I need that poster for Gorfers eventually, the final Gnaw, because that's just amazing.
It's one of my favorite, and even a few people said that they really liked that one a lot. So that could be a possible chance of making like a life-size poster for it. So,
well, whenever that happens, you let me know for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Mark,
yes.
What other questions you got?
That's it for right now. I mean, as we continue to talk, I'm sure things will come up.
So, what does casting look like for yours? Do you have like a core group of people that you use over and over again?
We do have our regulars that I do trust for schedule because everybody's volunteer, right? So
yeah, of course,
it's a lot. Sometimes harder for people to work around their schedule.
Yep.
And I do have my good core group that I know will show up and be on time and so much dedication to it.
Yep.
But yeah, I usually post on social media pages saying, "Hey, I'm looking for casting for the next film here. If you're interested, send me a message." And then I talk to them for a bit and see if I can fit them in the movie. If I can't fit them in the movie, I usually try to get them into the next film. It depends on who they are too. If they don't fit the role as much as the next person, or it depends on their schedule too, right? If they're super busy, they're probably not going to get like a huge role compared to the next person.
Right, of course, that makes sense because you got to fit them in where you can, right?
Yes.
And Devon, you're up in Canada, right?
Yes, I'm in Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan. Okay. So one of the going back into like podcast history, one of the very first podcasts I listened to was Horror Etc. Are you familiar with those guys?
No, I'm not actually.
So you might want to look up Anthony Mann. He's one of the guys that was or one of the podcasters on it, and he's in Canada too, and he's made a whole bunch of lower budget horror movies. But he also does like a number of like audio recordings, and he had Tony Todd on as Dracula.
That's pretty sweet.
For a reading for Dracula. So yeah, you might want to look up Anthony Mann, 2 Anns at the end. Since he's in Canada, because I'm in America, so Canada is just one place to me, and he's probably been around.
I was gonna like he could be 400 miles away from you, but Mark thinks because he's in Canada, you guys all know each other.
Yeah, I know him.
Other Canadian because they're so nice.
Yeah, it's like Mark. Did you know everybody in Northern Ireland?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Every single person.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yep.
He's such a liar.
That's slander.
It's not slander. It's only slander if it's untrue. So we thought it might be fun if we talked a little bit about indie cinema in general.
Yeah.
So Mark has a question, though. So Mark, let's start with your question.
So how do we define indie horror movies? Because I think it's very subjective.
Is it?
I think so. So Jim, how would you define indie horror movies?
It would be a movie that has where its production was not backed by any major studios.
Devon?
That's a good answer too. I would say like the more lower budget, obviously they don't have the $200 million and they don't have like the Johnny Depp and Brad Pitt acting in their movies. I'd say like they don't have a studio backing them up, and I say the budget is for independence.
Right, we can talk about, and I think Devon, you're probably like micro budget, right?
We are definitely micro budget, zero budget just about.
But to me, independent movies are kind of outside of the mainstream 20th Century Fox and Warner Brothers type studios, right? But if you ask the regular person on the street, name like some sort of indie horror, they might say something like, if they know a little bit, like Blair Witch Project, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's one of the poster child. But a lot of people wouldn't say like Halloween.
No.
But it was.
At the time, yes.
Absolutely an indie horror. And that's why, Jim, I was talking to you, it's like, it's very hard for me to say, other than maybe the likes of like The Exorcist or Jaws or Poltergeist, a lot of the most famous horror movies are indie horror movies, but they've got such a reputation now that people don't even understand, right? So you can start with Night of the Living Dead, some of the H.G. Lewis stuff, 2001 Maniacs or 2000 Maniacs, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Right? And because these have spawned, even Friday the 13th, and
Evil Dead.
Nightmare on Elm Street. So, Devon, you brought up Johnny Depp.
Yep.
Nightmare on Elm Street was an indie movie.
The original, yes.
Right. So, New Line Cinema, who went on to make Lord of the Rings. Oh, we're coming full circle in a lot of things.
Right. But New Line Cinema is the house that Freddie built.
Right.
That was their launching pad.
It was what I would consider an indie horror movie, but I think for most people, they wouldn't see it because it's just become so popular.
Right, because they don't know the New Line from the 80s. They know now.
So
That's
I
true.
think
Yeah.
I think that it's such a wide net. It's hard for me to say, other than like the super blockbuster ones that, and you can look at right now like Bloomhouse and things like that. Okay, well they have a lot of money behind it, but then people are saying like A24, right? Are they indie or not? Jim?
No, I think they're art house now. They
No, no,
may they
no,
may have been indie at one point.
no. Art house is not indie or not. You can be art house and have a lot of
Yeah,
money.
I agree, but I would not consider them an indie production company anymore.
So
They're moving into big budget.
anymore.
Yes.
So when did they stop being indie?
I'd have to actually research the release of their
Yeah,
films.
so the only reason why I did that, because I was looking stuff up and I'm like, okay, let's look at some lists because I think it's such a wide um, way to try and say what's indie and what's not. And there was a whole bunch of like A24 stuff
Yeah.
on there. Now,
That's
if you look at like as Devon was saying, like Full Moon,
Yep.
if you look at Trauma,
Yep.
and then you have to say, well, is like foreign horror considered indie because it's not like the Hollywood big budget? So, like, what is it, Jim?
I gave my definition, Mark. What's yours?
So every single so name me a big movie production company in the UK.
I would have no idea.
Name me one in France.
Again, no idea.
Name me one in Spain.
You want to keep going, Mark? You get the idea. I'm pretty ignorant on this subject.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Is that then you consider every single foreign movie, like horror movie, an indie horror movie?
No.
Devon, see what I have to put up with.
Just because I'm not aware of them doesn't make them low budget, right?
It's not low budget. It's not low budget.
Okay, I'm sorry. Independent. Independent. I don't mean low
What
budget.
does
I mean
independent
independent.
mean? You said it's not backed by a major studio.
Right. That doesn't mean it doesn't mean a major studio in the United States. The United States isn't the only country with major studios.
Name me one major studio outside of the US.
Just because I'm currently ignorant of that, I doesn't mean that they don't exist.
But I'm just saying that this is what I mean. It's subjective, right?
It's not subjective at all. You cannot be an independent. You can't be an independent film with major studio backing,
Yes,
regardless of what country. No, you can't.
So is New Line Cinema, was that an indie label or is that a major studio?
At one point, it was an indie label.
Oh, at one point. So what was the point where it changed?
After the popularity of Nightmare on Elm Street, we've already covered this, Mark.
But which one? The second one, the third one?
It'd probably have to be the third one is when it started to go big budget.
Subjective, Jim.
It's not subjective.
So give me the exact movie when it was.
I just said Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is when they started to get larger budgets.
So number 2 was independent, and number 3 was a big budget studio movie.
Number 2 would be more independent than number 3, yes, and
What
3
about
I think fully qualifies.
What about the other movies they were making at that time? Not just the Nightmare on Elm Street ones.
I'm not familiar with their entire filmography, Mark.
Anyway, my point is, I think it's kind of subjective. Now,
you just want to be argumentative. There's a difference.
But I think with like Devon, like the micro budget ones are much easier to identify, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I do have a question for Devon. Actually, that made me think about a good question. So, Devon, if you talk to anybody that is in independent film or books or all that, their biggest challenge they say is marketing. How does that work for you? How does Are you comfortable with it? Is it a grueling process?
Marketing, it started off really good because Zombiegeddon was our first film, so I think that got us a lot of attention.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it was a bit more challenging with marketing and figuring out ways to keep it relevant because like it was their second film, third film, fourth film. And I started to figure it out more and have more fun with it. Like before I was just more like, here's the movie, here's the poster, here's the tickets, here's the release date. And now I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make some ridiculous posts and videos and I'm going to make a campaign sign for the gopher to be mayor of the town and saying Gopher's final gnaw coming town to your city May 11th, whatever.
Right.
And the killer balloon, we had Looney the killer balloon get kidnapped by somebody and he was held hostage for a few months. And we had like pictures of him tied up, and we had pictures of him getting gonna get stabbed by a knife, and we had a videotape of the person holding Looney the balloon send us a disc saying that we have him, we want $1 million or whatever. So like ridiculous ideas like that. I'm having way more fun with the marketing with the last few films because I feel like I'm way more free and I can try different weird ideas now.
That sounds like a lot of fun to me.
Oh, it's a blast. I love it.
Mark, are you a marketing genius?
Me?
Yes. That's what I just asked you.
Yes, I am, Jim.
How would you market Gorfers, the final gnaw?
Well, I would have Nicolas Cage fighting one of the Gorfers on YouTube with a soundtrack by Taylor Swift.
How would you pay Nicolas Cage on a micro budget?
I would just ask him.
You think he'd do it?
Maybe.
I hear his island's paid for now. So,
but anyway, so getting back, I mean, I think there's maybe like three main like epochs, like times when maybe independent or lower budget, we're just talking about America here, really had a chance to get started, right? So you have like the 60s, 70s, where you got the Night of the Living Dead and the 16 millimeter camera, right? Then we have the 80s where we have video cameras and VHS, right? And I think that was a huge difference, right? You don't have to make a movie that a studio has to back that people go to the movies to see, right? You can just release it in VHS.
Right, that wasn't that like the whole Faces of Death. That was their shtick, right?
I just think, like in general, it just blew the industry open. And then the most recent one, obviously, is the internet, right? So it's YouTube and the internet and streaming, and you can use your iPhone or like camera phone or whatever just to make a movie, right? So I think those are the three, as far as I can see, big changes as far as letting the average person make a movie that's not going through like, oh, you have to go through the committee and they have to give you a budget of X. You know.
That's fair.
No, that's fair. Like, because there's like Full Moon Pictures definitely loved VHS. They were huge on VHS. Like every time they release a movie every 2-3 months, it seemed like.
The 80s were, I think, the golden age of horror.
100%.
There was so many ideas and so many people had the ability to make stuff.
Yep.
And there was a lot of crap too, don't get me wrong. But I mean, like I'm a big fan of like Frank Henenlotter. So if you look at like Basket Case and Frankenhooker and Brain Damage and all,
movies scared the shit out of me as a kid.
All these sort of movies, you wouldn't have saw them in really like any decade other than the 80s. And even after, I don't know, I think there was just something special about the 80s, but maybe because I grew up in the I'm biased. So
I'm 90s children, people that grew up in the 90s feel the same way. I'm sure people in the 2000s have a larger appreciation for those cheesy slasher flicks from, I Know What You Did Last Summer and all that stuff. So, I mean, I think it's all subjective for sure, but it seems the general consensus is 80s horror with all of its cheese is amazing.
Yep. Oh, the practical effects are amazing too. That's what made it pop even more, and the gritty and dark feeling to them.
Yep, absolutely. So, Mark, what are we going to talk about?
So, Jim, do you have one of your famous, you haven't researched anything, but you're just going to pull up a list on the internet list?
I actually did research a little bit, Mark, but more about Devon and not so much about the movies because Mark is doing a brain dump. Right, Mark?
My brain always does dumps, Jim.
Usually out of your mouth. We know.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. That's what your mouth does.
Did you talk about my mother? Which I'm surprised that hasn't come up yet, but let's continue.
Yes. We'll avoid that.
Yeah, please. So anyway,
So,
We
did,
actually got Lloyd Kaufman in our movies too. I'm not.
did
oh,
I'm
you?
sh-
awesome.
yeah, it was shocking. We got him in Zombiegeddon 1.
But
I saw that in the credits, and I was wondering. I was like, I wonder.
He
and
did it.
and again, I met Lloyd at a convention. He was super nice, and he is, he launched the career of so many like big name directors, etc. Right, James Gunn,
Yep.
you know,
Trey Parker, Matt Stone.
yep, absolutely, and he still has such a love for the genre, right? And that's why I can't wait to see the Toxic Avenger remake.
I hope it gets
I'm
released soon.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm con- I don't know that it's going to have the charm, especially with all of the big name actors that are going to be in the movie. That's what I'm concerned about.
Apparently, it's got really good reviews from people who love the original.
I don't trust reviews.
Well,
Mostly because I have to listen to you,
we'll
Mark.
see how it pans out.
Anyway, shall we talk about movies, Mark?
Go ahead, Jim. What's your
I'm
list?
waiting for you. Well, mine is micro budget horror. What's yours?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so this first one I did not know existed, and I need to see it. So number one, we have Dahmer versus Gacy. Do you know what that's about, Mark?
It's about Jeffrey Dahmer against John Wayne Gacy.
Yes, but
Yes.
they have combined their DNA to make
Oh.
the perfect killer, and that killer has escaped. Does that sound like something you'd watch, Mark?
Escape from where?
I'm assuming some sort of medical facility because they're doing gene splicing.
I don't know.
You think so?
I don't know.
What do you think, Mark? You think that's a great movie? You think that's going to win an Oscar?
Things don't need to win an Oscar to be entertaining.
I didn't ask if it was going to be entertaining.
So Jim, if you want my honest answer, no, it's
Yes.
not going to win an Oscar.
Yes, that's very true.
Yep.
What do you got, Mark? What's first on your list?
So this again is, it's hard to draw the line. So I have a list of the 20 best indie horror movies. So these
If
are.
you bring up anything Ty West, I'm going to just kick you out of this podcast.
Then okay, bye. The first one is Terrifier.
Okay,
Oh.
I get behind that. Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of recency bias. I haven't looked through this list, but I'm just guessing.
I'm not a fan of the movie itself. I do love the character of Art the Clown, though.
He's gonna be a cult following for sure.
Yeah.
Art.
How did you feel about the movie, Devon?
I love number 2 way more than the first one.
Yeah.
I found that Art had more of a personality in the second one and gave him more of a Jim Carrey, Bruce Campbell type, Charlie Chaplin, all those kind of personalities.
Nice.
And he looked like he had way more fun with being in the role for that one. And gave
It's
more
funny.
freedom.
It's funny too because David Howard Thornton just posted his audition tape on his Facebook that
Yes.
he sent in to play Art the Clown. It was great.
He's an awesome guy.
Yeah, he is.
Jim, have you met him?
I have not met him yet. No,
I have.
Mark. It's not a competition.
So I totally agree, Devin. I think Terrifier 2 is much better than the first one. I just think it was a little too long. I think they could have cut half an hour from that movie.
A bit, yeah. I'm excited for the third one for sure.
It's going to be a Christmas miracle.
Yeah.
Christmas Miracle. Mm.
Jim?
Mark. So next on my list is a movie that I actually really like.
Wow.
The tagline is "Satan has jaws." You want to guess the name of the movie, Mark?
Jaws Satan.
No.
It's about a killer exorcist shark.
It's about a shark. It's about an exorcist that has to cast a demon out of a shark.
Right.
It is Shark Exorcist.
Right. That's why
It is. It's almost on the same level as Doll Shark. It's just so ridiculous. I love it.
If you ever look at I don't know, Devin, if you ever watch YouTube, there's a horror movie channel called Movie Timelines, and they do a lot of this like micro budget, low budget lists, and they're very good. They really
That's
enjoy it.
awesome. I like that.
Yep. So Movie Timelines. Jim?
Yes, Mark. We're on to your number two.
Okay. Number two is Stakeland. Oh, I believe that's a Canadian movie, right?
I'm not. I remember watching it, but I don't remember if I liked it or not.
Look at this review here. It says, Devon, I hope you're listening. A
Yep.
vampire film with the roots in the zombie apocalypse. A man in parentheses, zombacopolis. They totally stole that. Stickline's really good.
Yes, I have seen this. I just don't remember much about it.
And anything where you have vampires eating a baby at the start is always going to be good.
Yeah, Mark doesn't give a shit about your babies. He loves seeing violence against children, apparently.
I'm totally, it's not real, Jim, right?
Yes, I do.
But leave the dogs alone, or the animals.
Yeah, exactly. Leave the dogs alone.
Yeah.
Kids are fair game.
Yep. Fuck them. Okay, I'll just go down my list, Jim, because you're just sitting there.
I'm ready. I'm just waiting for you to shut up.
Number 18 is a movie which I didn't like as much as I thought I was going to, and it's 2011's Kill List.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's a British movie. You will know the director, Ben Wheatley, who is very famous for doing a number of kind of indie horror movies, and then went on to make The Meg 2.
Oh
Meg
god.
2.
Oh god. That is a masterclass in how to fuck up a terrible movie. Like, I mean, that movie could have been so cheesy, just like the first one, and so much fun.
No,
and he just did such.
Boring as fuck.
It was not. Shut up, Mark. Nobody asked you.
Devon, have you seen Kill List?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I mean, it's decent enough. I think the ending kind of lets it down a little bit. The next one is a Spanish movie, I believe, which I have not seen. Is it Spanish? Good Night, Mommy.
I thought that was French. I could be wrong, but I thought that was French.
So the directors are Veronica Franz and Severin Fiala.
Then I'm clearly wrong.
I don't know.
Didn't they remake it too?
They did with Naomi Watts.
Yeah.
Let's see. And I mean, I already know the twist. I know everything about the movie, but I've not seen it.
Next one we have 2015's The Invitation. Oh God, I can't speak. The Invitation.
See, what about that movie made it low budget? Exactly. Was it the expensive CGI? What was it?
You need to contact culturevultures.com.
Yes, I absolutely
Ask
do.
them why it's on the list then. I don't know. I'm just reading.
Because I will tell you also, the movie's just not very good. It's a run-of-the-mill vampire story, and it's just not great. Devon, thoughts?
I've only seen a few good vampire movies, to be honest. Vampires seem to be tricky sometimes to make films for.
Yep.
I'm not a big fan of it.
No, I don't know. There's only a handful, I'd say, that are really fun and entertaining, like From Dusk to Dawn and Near Dark I liked, and the John Carpenter's Vampires, obviously, I really enjoyed. But not much, though.
If you want a recommendation from Northern Ireland...
we don't, Mark. You're not from Northern Ireland. You've lived in the U.S. for over 20 years.
There's a movie called Boys from County Hell.
That's a good movie.
Which I think's on Shudder.
I think so.
You should watch that. It's a little bit of a different take on the whole vampire thing. And it's got lots of Northern Irish humor. Okay, number 15.
That'd be none then, right, Mark?
Number 15, we have 2020's Host, which is the Zoom horror movie.
Have not seen it.
It was fun.
Devin,
I thought it was gonna be the Eder Host movie.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
The South Korean one.
Yeah.
Which would be, I mean, with Jim's definition of independent horror. Okay, next one, and again, like indie horror, I guess it is. You've got like an A-list actor in it. It is horror, but it's more thriller horror, and it's 2015's Green Room with Patrick Stewart.
Mm-hmm. He does a lot of indie film.
And Anton Yelchin, R.I.P.
Yep,
Have you seen The Green Room?
I have not.
Yeah, it's more thriller, I think, than horror.
Yeah, it didn't seem like a horror movie to me.
Yeah, it's worth watching. It's really good, but it's pretty brutal in certain parts. The next one is one which I have not seen because I've heard it's like really boring and pointless. So maybe one of you two have seen it. It Comes at Night.
Oh,
What she said, 2017.
It's very delayed and boring, I found.
I agree because I could only get through about 25 minutes before I fell asleep 3 times.
Okay. The next one is a movie which I have some issues with. But I
Color
get
me shocked.
but I get why people like tend to really like it. And it's 2014's It Follows.
I hate that movie.
I did not like it either.
So I like certain things about it. I like the cinematography. I like the actors in it. I think the concept just is kind of annoying. And I,
Like
and they made a choice because I read something about it where they said no, we're not going to have any like adult characters do anything in this movie. It's all going to be about these kids. But then that takes you out of the movie, right? Because I'm like,
now,
all the cops.
what about that one kid's mom
talk
when
to your
she's
dad.
going? Yeah, like
Or-
what about when the kid's mom comes out and is acting all weird?
No, yeah, like I said,
So
there's
what
certain
you
things I
just
like
said is a
about it,
fallacy,
but
my
there's
friend.
certain things.
Yeah, no. So the only thing I liked about it was the scene where the girls getting thrown around on the beach. Like I thought that was done really really well. But other than that, the movie sucks.
Yeah, I get why people like it though.
I don't.
Okay, so here we go with an indie movie with absolute A-listers in it,
I know
and
where this is
it's
going already.
what is it?
You're gonna say Hereditary.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
This is the Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, etc. Vehicle, Bone Tomahawk from 2015, which is absolutely amazing.
It is not. It's absolutely boring with the exception of that one scene.
So I think it's amazing. Jim thinks it's not.
Devon, you gonna break the tie?
Might get a lot of flack for it, but I'm not a huge fan of like Western type of movies.
Yep, same.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of Western movies, and I try to like it. I think that's the same guy that made the new Puppet Master too, didn't it?
I think so.
He made the what's that Mel Gibson movie, Dragged Over Concrete or something. Drawing.
I don't think I've seen that one.
No.
Anyway, I really dig it. It definitely is a slow burn, and if you don't like westerns, you're not going to like that movie.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of westerns at all.
Have you seen The Unforgiven, Jim?
No.
You might like that. It's not a horror.
And you're absolutely right, Devin. He did do the Little Strike.
That movie is wild.
It is.
And that was one of the craziest ones
Mm-hmm.
of that whole series.
Oh yeah, they went far.
Like I put that on, I'm like, holy shit, they're really like swinging for the fences with this one.
Yeah, they
Especially from Puppet Master. Like Puppet Master had like some gross scenes with like Leech Woman and all that in the past, or Chundler, but they didn't have like that. I was like, holy moly, they're going like Terrifier style.
Oh yeah, I mean, Puppet Master has always been pretty not PG, but it's not that extreme. And then I watch that, I'm like, oh my god, they're you go girl. Okay, the next one I haven't seen either. I've heard a lot about, but I've just not watched it. And it's 2012's The Battery,
I don't know that one.
which is a zombie flick.
I don't know that one.
It's more of a slow burn too, isn't it?
Not seen it. Don't know. The
That's
next.
the
Remember
one with
watching
Jeremy
it once.
Gardner.
Jim, do you want to leave right now?
No,
Okay. Well, you can if you want to. So,
I said I was kicking you out. I didn't say I was leaving.
well,
But go on.
You can leave anyway. It's the Thai West boring piece of shit, The House of the Devil.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Like, I, Devin, what do you like Thai West movies or?
Um, I'm sure I'll get a flack for people, but I'm not a big fan of Ty West.
No.
I for all horror movies, I do try to find out good things for each horror movie, if it's like cinematography, music, or acting. I think he has probably some good cinematography work in his movies
Yep.
and like the colors and all that. But I just don't like his movies in general, like where
No.
I just find them very slow paced.
They're just boring, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's no payoff. And the only Thai West movie I like is the one that's totally different from the rest of his oeuvre, which is that Jim Jones one, which was like a found footage recreation of the Jim Jones type thing. What's it called?
I didn't mind that one.
Yeah.
And it's good too. I keep wanting to say Red State, the Sacrament.
The Sacrament.
Yeah, that was a really good film.
Yeah, but again, if you put that against all his other movies, that's the one that stands out. Like just everything about it.
Agreed.
So at least he's made one good movie, in my opinion. So he can sleep well tonight.
I'm sure your opinion is what's keeping him awake at night.
I'm sure he's listening. Okay, the next one is my favorite horror movie. So Jim, why don't you talk about it?
It's going to be Martyrs.
It is.
I keep getting the year wrong. I keep wanting to say 2016, but it's
2008.
2008. Yeah, so I keep getting the date wrong. But Mark forced me to watch it because I had not seen it yet, and it's fantastic. It's absolutely bleak, but it's difficult to get through in parts. But it's an amazing movie.
Martyrs was wild, like that. I love the whole opening with that too.
Yeah,
the whole opening scene with her with the hiding in that.
Yep, I thought that was great.
I love that there's so many right turns in that movie where it's like, oh, is it a ghost movie? Oh, it's a home invasion movie. Oh no, it's now this type of movie. It's that type of movie, and you never really know what you're getting. And then it's just like bleak, and then it's open-ended ending where people can have discussions about existential stuff. Plus, it's super acted, super directed, everything else.
Yep.
Okay. That came out around like the same time as like Inside and Wreck, even, which is both amazing films, I think.
So that was part of the new wave of French extreme horror movies with like Hot Tension, Inside, a number of other ones that came out. Yep, absolutely fantastic time in horror, foreign cinema, and Wreck, etc. Yep, love it. We have 2008's. This is another Canadian movie, and it is Pontypool.
I don't think I've heard that one.
I've seen it exactly once, and that was quite a while ago, so I don't remember much about it.
So Pontypool is a kind of a zombie movie.
Oh, that.
Right.
Yes.
And the main guy in it has been in a ton of stuff. He's the DJ guy. He's an older guy. And it's more about what's happening outside that you don't know.
Right.
They're just hearing about it, but they don't know what's going on. And it's like the virus goes through like radio waves or something, or sound waves. I liked it. Okay. The next one on the list is my favorite revenge movie. Jim, do you know what my favorite revenge movie is?
I don't.
It is the 2010 South Korean masterpiece, I Saw the Devil.
Ah,
So
hey
once again,
Mark.
we're talking about indie movies. I have no idea if this was like a big budget, big production company in South Korea making this or not.
Let's see.
I think it's quite well known, that one.
Yeah, I think probably Old Boy is the most well known of those kind of South
Yes.
Korean revenge movies, but I Saw the Devil is just
I
so
have
much.
not. It's going to shock you, Mark, but I have not seen it,
Oh, I am shocked. In fact, it stars the main guy from Old Boy,
and I've not seen that either.
and he is such a scumbag in this. It's great. Um,
I'm looking up to see who produced it, but or what studio put it out. But everything I'm not having any luck yet.
would you even know because it's South Korean? You know what I mean? Who knows?
Magnet Releasing is the distributor. Production company is Showbox slash
The
Mediaplex.
Magnet does a lot of the Western releases
Yes.
of Asian movies, going back to like
So that
Ringo,
I
etc.
personally would not consider that indie horror. Well, it might be because Orion went belly up and then came back. So I guess it could technically be considered um, indie, given that Orion is just starting to come back around. So Showbox Mediaplex is part of the Orion Entertainment Group.
Okay, well, you're obviously the arbiter of India or not,
Yes, absolutely.
so we
It's
appreciate
all up to me. They come to me every day to ask me, can we market that as an indie movie? No, no, you can't.
it. Jim's got this stamp. It's either indie or not indie, and all the companies just send him the script.
Yep.
He just puts one or the other on it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Approved.
They clearly Ty West hasn't gotten the memo yet though, because they're marketing Pearl and X and Maxine as indie movies.
Well, you need to get in contact with him.
I do. I'm gonna have to call him. I have him on speed dial.
The next one, I believe, the main actors are coming to Spookala in Tampa later on this year, and it is the amazing Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Oh, so
Love
good.
that movie. I love that movie. Like that's how you do horror comedy, right there. That's
Yes.
perfect.
And I will say, people look at Scream to be kind of like meta horror and stuff. I look more to like Tucker and Dale. I think it does it better.
That and Jack Brooke Monster Slayer, two of my favorite horror comedies.
Next one is another vampire one, but again, it's foreign, so it makes the list. It is Let the Right One In.
One in.
You know what? I have not seen the original. I've seen the remake.
I've not seen either. Devon, have you seen either one?
I've seen them, yeah. It's been a few years since I've seen it, but I don't remember like hating it. I remember being a bit more slower paced as well again.
Yeah, I do understand that part of it too.
Again, I think the vampire thing, like, if you don't like vampires, it's hard to like a vampire movie. I don't really like vampires, so there's only a few movies that I like in that subgenre.
It's tough. It's a very tough genre to
30
like,
Days
I
of,
think.
30 Days of Night was the last really good vampire movie that I remember seeing.
Yeah, I mean it. So I watched Abigail recently, and that was fun.
Ick. No, it was not. You take out that little vampire girl, and you're watching Ready or Not again.
Okay. Okay.
That's it. That's exactly what it is.
So, an American Werewolf in London, if you take the werewolf out, it's a different movie, right?
But I'm saying if you take her out, it's the same exact story.
If you take Godzilla out of Godzilla,
you don't get a King Kong movie.
It's just this very boring movie about people.
No, I love Ready or Not.
Normal.
I love Ready. No. You're misunderstanding me. I absolutely adore the movie Ready or Not. It was fantastic. But I did not need a retread of it and just throwing in a vampire somewhere.
Well, again, maybe you should email the writers, directors, the production team.
And they wasted Catherine Newton in that film. Like, I don't want to ruin it for anybody. Have you seen it yet, Devon?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay,
We don't get a whole lot of horror movies in our town, or so we have to like make an actual trip to bigger cities to watch horror movies sometimes, which
gotcha.
sucks.
Yeah. So I won't ruin it, but Catherine Newton was wasted in this film. Absolutely wasted. She could have been. She could have had so much more fun.
Anyway, moving on from him and his weird opinions. Number 3, we're going back to my homeland, the UK, and it's 2004's Dead Man's Shoes.
Are you keeping count, Devon? I think we're at number 15 now.
Yep.
That he's mentioned the UK.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a few UK movies.
Yep.
Yeah. I have not seen Dead Man's Shoes. Mark.
I have not seen that one either.
It's more of a revenge thriller. They have a slight, not really supernatural, but it's very good.
Okay.
So, recommend. The next one I saw, and I didn't really like. Maybe I wasn't watching it like with my full attention, as usual. Is One Cut of the Dead, 2017.
I've not heard of that one
I
at
think
all.
this is a Japanese Asian movie. I think maybe Japanese.
Oh, okay.
And it's a low budget movie.
Yeah, but it looks like it's balls out. Like it looks like it gets pretty crazy, which could be a lot of fun.
And this is
Am I incorrect?
it was all right. Like I said, I think I wasn't paying attention. I think I was probably working and it was on the background, so I probably need to rewatch it. But this is what I mean. Okay, so we're down to number 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you think back about all the like classic indie horror movies, Phantasm, Halloween, Night of the Living Dead, all of
The
these
Howling.
movies, The
Evil
Howling.
Dead.
So Evil Dead is number 1.
Oh, there you
I'm
go.
okay with it. I'm okay with that.
No, totally. Like the Evil Dead is fantastic. But like all these other ones, I think there's a lot of recency bias in this list because like One Cut of the Dead would not be anywhere near a top 20 or top 10. Let the Right One In wouldn't either. I mean, there's so many other lower budget indie classic. Again, Halloween should be on there.
Wait, I'm gonna have a conversation with us when we talk about what we've watched. Mark, I got to watch a new indie horror movie.
Oh, cool.
So
okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom now.
Okay.
So, all of them.
So Devon, if you need a break, now's the time.
This is your time.
Yeah.
I've done all the talking, Jim.
As usual, Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like it looked like a lot of movies were in the 2000s.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a whole lot of movies that were like Evil Dead. Like I was expecting like he said Phantasm or Halloween, but
that was not that at all. And
no.
So I have a list of micro budget films, but a lot of them I have not seen. I think Shark Exorcist is the only one on this list that I've actually seen.
I love those films too. Like, I started to become friends with people from the Killer Pinata. There's a company.
Oh, really?
The Angry Mule films.
Nice. Yeah.
And yeah, they have like a Dead Prairies logo in their office. They got decals and they're super cool guys. I love that film.
Your logo is freaking awesome.
Oh, thank you. That was done by my tattoo artist.
Nice. I like it. That's awesome.
I said, hey man, Marshall Ambrose is my tattoo artist. And I'm like, can you make like a zombie type gopher meets Evil Dead? Right. And he's like, yeah, for sure. And then he came up with that logo and I was like, man, that's perfect.
That's awesome. That's great. It pays to know people, right?
It does. And he's a talented guy. And I'm glad that he was able to make that for us. And if you see that logo, you know what it's for.
Yeah, absolutely. It's brilliant. Absolutely.
And it's kind of like our mascot too, because like Gophers is definitely one of our bigger films that people seem to recognize, and so it helps that the Dead Prairies logo is a mascot, basically.
That's awesome, though. You're gonna have to get somebody to wear the suit then.
Oh
carry a chainsaw and everything.
I would love that. I actually thought about that. I'm like, man, I'd love to have like a mascot of a gopher but a zombie style holding a
Right.
chainsaw would be awesome.
That would be awesome. You could just see him showing up at the premiere like that. That'd be freaking amazing.
Oh, I'm down for that. I definitely thought about it.
Yeah, but those mascot costumes are not cheap for
No,
sure.
it'd be like our 3-4 films budget put together.
Yeah, exactly. So what? How do you come up with the ideas for your films? Like, I mean, so the like your anthology films, right? You were talking about how there's different writers for each. Do you put out a call for writing too, like you do for actors?
For like Sin Volume 1, 2, and 3, I did put a call out on my Facebook pages saying, hey, looking for different writers. And then people that were interested, they sent me an idea. And then I gave them kind of like a deadline because we need to film this film soon. And yeah, no, I had people that were like super young. We had people that are a bit more older. We had males and females writers. And it was cool to see different people's perspective of what they come up with a short film. And I said, hey, this is the biggest thing is to keep it in the budget though. We don't have more we don't have a whole lot of money. Usually our budgets are like $200 or less. So
Right.
you can't do crazy special effects or CGI monsters and
Yeah.
explosions and all that stuff. So
Right. You're not getting an Eldritch God in in one of your movies for $200 for sure.
oh no! And then people like some of the people that wrote ideas, I'm like, that's really cool, but I don't think we can pull that off unless you can somehow tweak it to make it more of our budget.
Right. That's fair. I don't know. I wish, like, when I was a kid, when I was younger, I used to want to be an actor, and then I did summer theater and realized I can't act for shit. Because it was all musicals. I'm like, wow, I can't act and I can't sing. So that's fantastic. So I wish I had the guts to be more creative, but
There's
that's
your
just not me.
musical career down the drain. Jim.
Mark, that was down the drain when I was 15 years old, my friend.
That's what she said.
Ha ha ha.
Okay, so Jim, do you want to continue with your list?
No, Mark, we were actually having a conversation until you showed up.
I'll just show.
No, so tell us about some of your favorite films, Devon.
Some of my favorite films would be like The Descent with the girls going into the cave. I thought that
Love
was
that
well
movie.
done by Neil Marshall. I watched that one in the theaters and it blew my mind because I was going in there not knowing what to expect.
Right.
And being in the theater watching that movie just made it even better because there's some quiet moments and just like super loud. And then I love how they didn't show the monster to the girls right away. And that was
Right.
kind of like the reaction, which you don't see often anymore.
Yep.
Like Friday 13th did that a few times where like, hey, Jason's going to smash this window, but we're not going to tell you when.
So what I think is great about The Descent, right? Because you're totally right. You don't see those monsters until probably halfway through, right?
Yeah.
But what they do, what Neil Marshall, and I don't know what's happened to Neil Marshall recently, but what he did so expertly was he had that whole car crash at the start, right?
Oh,
And then he
brilliant.
brought it back in like a dream sequence.
Yep.
And then he had the claustrophobia, right?
Yes.
So it was
Yes.
just like this, oh, it's terrible tragedy, jump scare. Now it's like real life, and you're stuck in, I think most people probably have claustrophobia to a certain extent. And then it's like, here come the monsters.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. I love how there's monsters, the claustrophobia, you got the tension, you got the I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't seen it, but like
I think it's fine.
that twist, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, what, 14 years old? I think we're good to spoil it.
Oh, that's crazy how much people haven't seen it yet. I was telling people, I'm like, hey, you should watch The Descent, and so many
Like,
people
what?
haven't seen it yet. I'm like,
So-
What do you think of the sequel?
Well, hang on. So whenever you're saying the twist, do you mean the very ending, or do you mean when the monsters show up?
like the depend what ending you watched, right? There, I love how you didn't know if it was all in her mind
Right.
Right.
or it was actual monsters. I love that ending. I loved when she was still in the cave.
Yep.
Right. And
I enjoy that.
yeah, I think what the movie is doing, like the monsters were always real, right? But
Yeah.
the ending was about her going into a descent into madness, right?
Yeah.
I'm imagining that she got out.
Right.
That's just her brain trying to cope with that situation where she's fucked.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed that. And then even like the little subtle hints. Like I watched the movie a few times over and over. And the first time I watched it, I didn't really catch the certain hints, but like the girl there was actually with her husband.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yep.
was like,
Yep.
man, there's like a little subtle hints. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
oh,
Oh man, when she
so
figured
good.
that out and she put the axe through her leg, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, that was freaking amazing. I love
Yeah.
Sarah. Sarah's one of my favorite final girls.
She's so good.
So, Jim, you're
What did
seeing part 2?
I was gonna ask, what did you think of the sequel?
I didn't hate it, but I found like it didn't have that same magic as the first one, because you already know there's gonna be monsters in there. You already know kind of the layout. I think that's what made the first one so good, is that you didn't really know what the fuck you're going in and watching. It's like Cabin in the Woods too. You're like, oh, I'm gonna watch a serious horror film, and then like, oh, this is like a funny horror film, which blew my mind too. It was good stuff.
Right. So I hated Cabin in the Woods until
Oh no,
Sigourney Weaver showed up.
did you?
Yep. After that, she saves everything. I love Sigourney Weaver.
She's awesome.
She is. She's fantastic. But I agree with you with the Descent too, for sure. The big twist and the big reveal there was the fact that Juno was still alive,
Yes.
which was just stupid.
I remember watching the sequel, but I don't remember anything about it other than it was just okay.
Yeah.
But after seeing like the original ending,
Yeah.
obviously the second movie wouldn't take place. But
Right. Exactly.
but I think they saw a good thing and they're like, okay, we'll keep it going here. But I think
Right.
Neil Marshall's best movie is Dog Soldiers,
So good.
It is. It's great.
and I love The Descent too. But like his recent output has been poor.
What? Give me an example of some of his recent output, because I probably wouldn't know it unless it was pointed out to me.
There's let me. I'll have to look
He did Doomsday there.
Doomsday was great. I
don't know that
really
one.
enjoyed Doomsday. Neil Marshall. English.
I agree. Like he started off very strong. Like he got The Descent, Dog Soldiers, and then you had Doomsday, and then it seemed like he just
He was
went down though.
He was an up and coming. Okay, The Lair.
The Lair. I don't know that one.
That was not good.
It was like a sub sci-fi channel piece of shit.
Okay.
But he did make like hey, if I ever made one movie, which was people were like, that's my favorite movie, my life would be complete. So there's
Would it?
well maybe.
I doubt it.
Well, maybe Jim, if you thought it was like a 10 out of 10, my life would be complete.
I doubt it.
Well,
I mean, I doubt that I'd give it a 10 out of 10.
well, no, we'll have to.
Because you were pissed at me for giving Late Night. You were pissed at me for giving Late Night with the Devil a 9.
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
I wasn't. Well, just in retrospect.
In retrospect, what?
About how you evaluate movies.
So Devon, I'll give you a little bit of a backstory. He's pissed off. I got him pissed off because I told him that Event Horizon was one of my favorite movies. Right, one of my top movies of all time.
Yep.
However, when I rated it, I gave it a 7,
Yep.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
And you were pissed because I gave it a 7.
Yeah.
But I told you flat out it's because it doesn't hold up to time.
So
I still love the movie, but the CGI doesn't hold up. A lot of the special effects don't hold up.
Of a backstory, we're talking about our top 10 horror movies of all time.
Yeah.
How would you rate them? And every single one of mine is either a 9 or a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And Jim's like, oh, this one is 7 out of 10. I'm like, that's your top 10 horror movie. So now, I guess Event Horizon's out, and that movie's in.
Different type of horror, but probably.
Anyway.
I mean, if I'm being honest, right?
Well, I'll be a first.
So we're going to talk about a few micro-budget horror films. I'm curious if Mark has seen these. You ready? So, we already talked about Shark Exorcist. Then we go to Gourmet Zombie Chef from Hell. is a horror comedy from 1986, Mark.
No, but
86.
I love it already. And I
Yeah, I know. I know you do.
gourmet. That's awesome.
But it's spelled Gore.
Yes, like
Gore. Yeah.
gorfers. Yes.
Like Gore first, yes. Which
Yes.
I cannot wait to see. I'm going to have to order the first two on DVD immediately.
That's awesome.
Next up, we have. I'm going to read you the tagline. I'll give you. Actually, I'm not going to read you the synopsis. I'm going to tell you the name of the main character, and you're gonna guess. Mark, you ready?
Okay.
Charlie Crandall.
Charlie Crandall.
Mm-hmm.
Name sounds familiar.
Give me another hint.
You've met Chucky, the killer doll. Now meet Charlie Crandall.
The killer wall.
Is it
No,
Robert?
he's the doll killer. So he kills people. He kills women and leaves dolls at the murder scene.
Oh,
How would I know that, James?
You know everything, don't you?
No.
Okay, so next up we have a 1991 action animation horror. Mark, is that your vibe?
Sure.
So this is Carl J. Sucknick is the name of the director. And I'm sure I'm probably butchering that, but it's really funny. This is Alien Beasts from 1991.
Oh, Alien Beast. Love that movie.
Do you?
Yeah.
Devon, have you seen it?
I don't think I've seen Alien Beast.
Me either. Okay, so next up, Mark, we have another from your favorite era. 4 teenagers on an outing in the woods are attacked by a trio of mutant. I'm leaving out the last word because it'll give away the title.
Mutant what, James?
Cannibals. What movie am I talking about?
Micro budget.
Mm-hmm.
And I would know this.
I don't know if you would or not. The director's Tom Fisher, if that helps.
Oh, Tommy Fisher. Love that guy.
Yeah?
No, I have no idea.
Cannibal Campout.
Oh, Cannibal Campout.
Yes.
Of course.
Next up, another from your favorite. Actually, a lot of these are going to be from your favorite era.
Yeah.
So this is 1988's comedy horror, directed by John McBride, also starring John McBride and Patricia McBride. I almost said Patrick.
He's an auteur.
It is Wood Chipper Massacre.
Wood Chip Massacre.
Devin, you want?
Never seen it.
Me either.
Tell us a little bit about your thoughts about the Wood Chipper Massacre.
I would love to see it.
Yeah.
Fargo.
So, Mark, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I have that tattooed on my back, Jim, so you would know.
What? Hi.
Not
I
like
don't understand.
you weirdo.
Me a weirdo? Yeah. Okay. I brought it up anyway. So I'm going to read you the tagline, Mark, and I'm going to give you the director. You're going to tell me the name of the movie.
Okay.
A teenager is left orphaned by a car crash that wipes out his entire family. He is subsequently haunted by his dead brother. William Zarka is the director.
Yep. Know this.
It's a comedy horror from 1988.
It's dead brother car crash horror.
It's Phantom Brother.
Yeah, well, it's like Ghost Dad.
Next up is a movie I've not heard of. It's from 2008. It says, Will, the reluctant heir to a dark legacy, is once again thrown into a battle against the forces of evil when a series of gruesome murders begin to take place.
Will.i.am.
It's directed by Mel House. It stars Tim Roble, Jennifer LaFleur, Phelan Prophet, and Richard Flood.
Don't know.
It is Witchcraft 13, Blood of the Chosen.
Oh, really? I know.
Yes.
Are they still making witchcraft movies? That's great.
Apparently.
It's like you could do a whole episode about Amityville, right?
Right.
Amityville things have made 1 billion different things. Amityville in the title. Some of them super low budget.
Okay. Are we ready for the next one? So it's 2014. Tommy has been suffering from bad dreams as far back as he can remember. He can never sleep more than 8 hours. I wish, without waking up screaming.
Monday morning.
Right? Now, on his 16th birthday, he's ready to party. That is, if three demons don't stop him first. Will Tommy and his punker friends survive a birthday bash? Or will they become more cattle for the world's largest human slaughterhouse? What's the name of this movie, Mark?
8 sweet 16 divided by 8
No.
equals 2.
Mark,
Yeah.
you think you're funny, but it's just, there's no comedy in that.
Uh,
Math is not funny. It's a City of Dream Demons.
well, also known as.
Also, no.
So next up, the next two are a series. It's Camp Blood.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they have a lot of those.
Well, I'm only looking at 1 and 2. Mark, thoughts?
I would not go there.
Mark, did you like the movies or not?
I have not seen.
Well,
I remember the cover, renting
Yeah.
it back in the day with the clown in the forest and that. I think I've seen the first two. I think
Yep.
they're up to like 10 or 12 now.
Jesus.
So, Jim,
I've not
what are
seen
your thoughts on them?
I've not seen them.
Then don't sigh at me whenever I say I haven't.
Of course I'm going to sigh at you. It's my job. So now we got 2005, Mark. You ready?
Yep.
Is the legendary clown back? Or is one of the group willing to kill for a prize? What's the name of this movie, Mark?
What was that low budget clown movie? 99 Smiles or something? 99.
That's not this one.
Bozo the Clown eats Jeffrey Dahmer. Part
It's
2.
within the woods, Mark.
Of course. Next to Camp Blood.
They do all have clowns in them. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Devon, have you seen it?
No.
Me either. This next one I just heard about the other day, and I need to see it because it sounds amazing. This is from 1992, Mark, so I'm going to go out on a limb and say you may or may not have heard of this.
Mm-hmm.
Wheelchair bound, homeless, and alone, Eugene unleashes a limitless rage that shocks the world as its first blank serial killer. What movie do you think this is?
Blank serial killer?
Mm-hmm.
He kills blanks? He uses blanks to kill people?
No, Mark.
what
I'm carefully omitting things to not give away the title.
It's very confusing.
Only if you're not paying attention.
What?
What's the name of the movie, Mark?
I have no idea, Jim. Why don't you tell the
Devon, do you have a guess?
Can you say the title again? Like the
I didn't say the title.
the blank?
Yeah, so the blanks. So, wheelchair bound, homeless, and alone, Eugene unleashes a limitless rage as the blank and shocks the world as its first blank serial killer.
Disabled?
Clearly, if he's wheelchair bound, Mark, yes, that would make him differently abled.
I'm not too sure.
It's called Hell Roller because he's in a possessed wheelchair.
Oh my god.
I need to see this so bad. Somebody just mentioned it the other day. Oh, Mark, here's a movie you've probably seen from 1991.
Yep.
Sounds like your thing.
Probably.
A monstrous madman slowly mutilates poor young girls.
Yes.
What's the name of the movie?
Madman mutilates
No.
multiple non-male.
Mark, you're bad at this game.
Okay. Devon, like this is what I have to. This is what I have to deal with.
It is Sex Android.
Sex Android.
Well, of course it is, because that makes sense.
Okay, this next one is going to be interesting for sure. Mark, I'm willing to bet this is on your top 10.
Right.
When a group of college kids head off to their friend's cabin for a little high-octane sex weekend, they will get more than they bargained for in the form of an evil scarecrow killer, Jimmy Van Brunt. Seems like nobody is safe at the spooky cabin in the woods by the lake these days.
That is clearly Sex Scarecrow.
That is not Sex Scarecrow.
Oh.
It's the title's almost as good. Devon, any guesses?
Sex Crow.
No, but I don't know if I can say this title with a straight face.
Screw Crow.
No. It is
I don't know.
Terror at Blood Fart Lake.
Oh my god.
Oh, I've heard of this one. I've actually
Have you?
Yep.
Ah, interesting.
I think
So
it's
next,
a movie.
it might be. I'd have to look it up. I don't know if I want to, though. So, once the hottest comic in America, Hollaback's name was in hip-hop songs all over the media, making Eminem look like MC Hammer. Then in a flash, it's gone, and he's played out. So what is the name of this movie, Mark?
Oh my god.
It's a horror comedy from 2003.
Hammer murder of M&Ms. No idea, Jim.
It's Holla If I Kill You.
Oh,
Oh, these are
Okay,
good
Mark.
titles.
okay.
They are. They are.
Are we almost done with this list?
No, we're not.
Fucking
No, not at all. They're hysterical, though.
I apologize.
They're great. Like, I love some of these titles.
Number
Where was I? Okay, so next up, Mark, you ready?
yeah.
1987. We're back to 1987.
Mhm.
Two young twins are sent to spend time at their aunt's farm. What nobody knows is that the aunt's handyman is a psycho serial killer who dismembers his victims and stores their bodies in parts.
Handy killer.
The
This title is kind of a lowbrow.
oh, okay, lowbrow. Is that for like you, Jim? You think it's lowbrow?
It's just not as funny as the last few.
Probably piss fart.
It's Splatter Farm, Mark.
Splatter
Splatter Farm. Now we have a killer goes on a killing spree at a heavy metal club
Oh, cool.
from 1989. Mark?
Okay. Metal 80s.
This one's pretty obvious. I pretty much gave it away in the description.
The heavy metal mutilator.
Do you want to give it a shot, Devon?
Like-
Because Mark's clearly wrong.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Like Jim's shaking his head like I should know this shit.
You should have. You should have gotten this.
Metal
Man.
mutilator.
No.
Metal maniac.
No.
Death concert.
Heavy Metal Massacre.
Oh.
I was close.
No, you weren't.
I was close. I mean,
Oh, this one is interesting.
I should give you some that you need to recognize the title.
You should, but you didn't get in on this game in the
well,
beginning, so you're done now.
Maybe I will.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So next one is from 2010. In a cabin, a group of friends gather for fun. When they find a mysterious book, they unleash a ghostly evil. This resurrects the redneck Leo DeChamp, a serial killer who used to strangle kids with skunk tails in the 60s. So what movie are we talking about, Mark?
Skunk Kill.
Nope.
Skunked.
Nope.
You've been
Evil Dead, Inbred Rednecks. You like
That's
that, Mark?
spin off of Evil Dead movies.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
What else do we got? Let's see. No. I'm looking now. I'm just going through the list looking for the fun ones because this is getting long.
That's what she said.
Oh, here we go. After Sam's wife has betrayed him, he goes on a bloody killing spree in Las Vegas. It's from 1989. Mark?
The Vegas victims are very violated.
Mark.
What?
Not everything has to be ridiculous. This is, by the way, this is
course.
directed by David Schwartz.
Oh,
It stars
David,
R11.
Davy Schwartz.
Yes, old Davy Schwartz.
Oh, yeah.
So, any guesses, Devon?
Fremont. Fremont of Doom.
It's Las Vegas Bloodbath.
Mm.
And now a movie that is semi-autobiographical, if you ask Mark. A newlywed couple visits...
Has to put up with weird gay guy on podcast.
That's a hate crime, Mark. Watch it. A newlywed couple visits a fortune teller just for laughs. The fun soon turns to terror as they insult a woman and leave without paying. The tagline is, he's gonna kill you.
Is it kind of sung like that?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. It's in print, so probably not.
So what is it again? I wasn't listening to you.
Never mind, Mark.
Okay,
It's
Evan.
it's what your wife usually calls you, I would guess.
Awesome.
Look who's
That is
killing
not
now.
the truth. It's the dummy, of course.
Oh,
Let's see what else we got. A titillating, terrifying, and hilarious tale of a woman plagued by dreams of being a vampire. But are they dreams? Or will she wake up before her sleazy husband drives her crazy? This is from 2003, Mark. What do you think?
Nightmare Vampire.
Nope.
Vampire Nightmare.
Nope.
Mare Night Pyre Van.
Devon, do you have a guess?
No.
It's I Dream of Dracula,
Dream of Dracula.
aka Sinister Souls. I don't know. It looks terrible. Oh, this is a good one, Mark, from 1998. Here we go.
My favorite year. Yes.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me pull up the full synopsis so that we can go
better.
through this. A modern-day updating of the Dracula legend finds Stephen, a good-looking American hero, devastated by the death of his girlfriend. Wandering through Europe and looking for happiness, a car accident leads him to a small town, sitting literally in the shadow of Dracula's castle. The frightened villagers have been preyed upon for generations. Steve is stunned as... Cannot talk. Stephen is stunned to discover Carla, the innkeeper's daughter, looks identical to his dead girlfriend. When she begs for his assistance against the vampires, he agrees to help.
I Dream of Dracula.
No.
Vampire's Assistance.
Nope, not quite. This is Die Hard Dracula. I am here for that title. Mark, are you in for it?
No.
Why?
Sounds because I don't like vampire movies too.
Here we go, Mark. Here's a 2005 horror comedy. It is the sequel to 2003's cult hit Escape from the Dead.
Escape from the Dead 2.
Nope.
Oh.
Got another guess?
More Escape from the Dead.
It's Catholic Ghoul Girls. How could you not know that, Mark? Hey, Mark, what happens when a crazed scientist gets...
I might have had some cervezas. Anyway.
What happens when a crazed scientist gets a forced weekend away at a bed and breakfast?
He creates you?
Mushrooms and mayhem.
Exactly.
Mushrooms and mayhem.
Death stalks the shocked guests as mushrooms of all shapes and sizes run rampant. What is the name of this movie, Mark?
I'm a Fun Guy.
No.
Death Trip.
It's Fungicide.
Oh, it was close.
You were not.
I'm a Fun Guy. Okay.
Nope. I don't even get that one. Has anybody seen Terror Tunes?
Yes.
Yes.
And is it good? It's been popping up everywhere, so I want to watch it.
Warnowski directed it, right? And it's low budget.
It stars Lizzie Borden, so how could it be bad?
Huh.
No, this is one where it was like Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yep.
So they have like cartoons who are kind of like chasing after half naked women. That's good, yes.
Okay, fair enough. Mm-hmm. Already did that. Okay, this has actually started repeating itself because "Holla If I Kill You" showed up again.
Oh,
yeah.
So I guess that's the end of my list there, Mark.
Thank fuck for that.
I don't know. I sort of dig some of these titles for sure.
So I'm glad Devon's a Canadian. He's just like, okay, I'm just going to put up with this. Like, I'm not going to complain.
Okay, Mark, what else do you got?
I have nothing else.
So I guess, Devon, we've reached this point in our podcast where we would normally go over the things that we've talked about.
No, not the things that we've talked about, Jim.
Or things we've watched, excuse me. The things that we've watched. So is there anything, whether it's horror related or not, that you have watched, read, games you've played, anything you want to talk about?
The most recent horror film I actually watched is depends on the title you want to go with, is Vermins slash Infested. It's a new French horror film about spiders.
I've seen it.
Oh, I've heard about this one.
And I was surprised. I actually had fun with it. So
I couldn't handle the constant state of panic that everybody was in. It was just too much for me.
yeah,
It seemed a bit over the top, and it annoyed the crap out of me, to be honest. But I will say it's much better than Sting.
I haven't seen Sting yet. We
is
never got it.
Sorry, what, Mark?
Sting is great.
Shut your mouth. Sting is not great.
Okay, are we talking about the same one here, or is it Stung?
It's Sting.
No,
It's funny how we have 2 spider movies in like a month too.
Yeah. So we got to see Sting as part of AMC does this Screen Unseen where you pay $5 and they show you a movie that's supposed to release in the next month. And that's how we got to see Sting. And it just the final third of the movie was great. But the rest of it, I didn't give a shit about those people.
Okay.
Oh, that sucks.
So the one I was talking about is the 2015 movie Stung, which is a really cool creature feature, which is very underrated.
Yeah, that's totally different, Mark.
Yep.
We're talking about Sting that's in theaters.
Yep. Wasps.
Yeah.
Big wasps. And it's actually pretty violent, too. I was shocked. I just came across it one day. I'm like, wow.
Nice.
Okay, Jim?
Yes. Are we done?
Devon,
did you have anything else you want to talk about?
Watched, listened to, played, anything you want to talk about.
What else have I watched? I watched the new Ghostbusters. I'm not sure if that's really...
How did you feel about that? You can talk about anything. Anything you've watched, or it doesn't have to just be horror.
Sweet.
Can you take him?
Ghostbusters, the new one. I didn't like it as much as the last one, personally.
Ooh, because I did not like the Afterlife one at all.
No, I didn't mind it.
It was too much retreading the same thing. It's like, okay, just come up with something a little bit more original, please.
Nobody expected it to be anything but fan service, Mark, so it was exactly what it was supposed to be.
Well, no, this one, I guess this newer one is more original, so, right?
That's good. I'm looking forward to it.
Devon, you can...
But it's not a movie I'm going to pay for. It's something I'm going to wait for streaming.
Yeah, I haven't... like the only one I did not like was the one with the females. I wasn't a fan of that one. I tried to watch it and just couldn't do it.
That's fair. I mean, a lot of people did not like that movie.
I think there's a lot of nostalgia bait in, like, modern...
Yes, Mark, we all know you hate nostalgia. So
Well, no, nostalgia is great when it's done well, but you can't just rely entirely on nostalgia and just kind of churn out the same sort of thing.
Some of us are here for that, though.
Well, that's fine. If you enjoy it, That's cool.
Yep.
See,
Anything else? Anything else, Devon?
I watched First Omen and Monkey Man.
Ooh.
How was Monkey Man?
I liked it in certain parts. I found some of the action shots were very fast paced, so the cameras was like going really fast, so you couldn't see what was going on sometimes. It definitely reminded me of like the John Wick, I'd say.
I hate John Wick, but that's neither here nor there.
I'd say it's very similar to like that style.
Well, then Ray would like that. Mark, thoughts?
Have you seen... I'm trying to search for it here. The John Wick-esque Sisu.
I want to see that. I have not seen it yet.
I haven't seen that one yet.
For the spelling's right.
SISU.
Yeah, and it's done... Sisu film, yes. And it's like... it's very much like a John Wick movie, but it's even more kind of like bonkers. But that kind of plays into it. It's set in World War II, and it's this kind of every average guy, but he's really like super trained. But
Yep.
they all talk about him like a legend. And as the movie goes on, he goes and like survives more and more stuff that nobody ever would. But it's really good. Sisu.
Sounds fun.
Sisu.
Anything else there, Devon?
That was pretty much it.
What did you think of the first Omen?
Yes.
It's basically me and this other person in the theater is very dead.
Yep.
She actually walked out with like 15 minutes left of the movie, which I didn't get. She she said this is fairly phony, and she wanted her money back. And she's talking to me, and I was like, I don't know, you could have left like probably hour and 30 minutes beforehand if you wanted your money back.
Right.
You shouldn't leave at like when it's like just about over too.
Right.
I don't know. It's hit and miss. I was shocked in moments where I was like, "Oh, damn, they're actually showing this." And
I know exactly what scene you're talking about.
yeah, I was like, usually they like hint at it, but that was like full on. I was like,
Yep.
"Oh."
Have you seen it, Mark?
No. So, do you remember my cinema experience? I said from a couple of weeks
Yes.
ago.
Yes. He was.
So,
He was.
I was supposed to go watch the first Omen. I wasn't really like that. I saw the trailer. I'm like, it's probably just crap. But then it started getting some good reviews, and my wife was like, "Oh yeah, it looks pretty good." So okay, we'll go see it. The day before, which has never happened before, I got an email from AMC, which is the movie theater we go to, saying that they have canceled it due to like technical issues.
Oh,
which is very strange. But
Yep.
like the next showing of it, which was like 10 o'clock at night or whatever, was still on. But we were like, we're trying to find something around 7 or 8 or whatever. So we changed it. We went to see Late Night with the Devil, and we got we got 20 minutes into that movie, and then the fire alarm went off, and we had to evacuate. So it's like we didn't see either movie that weekend. It's like maybe it's a time. But myself and Jim, and we had a guest on, we were talking about the end of the world and the apocalypse just the week before, and like, what are the signs of the apocalypse? I was like, well, okay, maybe that's it.
Absolutely.
But we're still here, I guess.
Dying at the theater.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to watching it. I'm glad that Jim, you liked it, right?
It was okay. It was
so
not anything.
10 out of 10 for most people.
It was not fantastic, but there were some good parts. I know a lot of people are pissed about the ending, but I think people forget that ending's already been done in the in one of the Omen movies before, so it's not new. But it is the only way that they're going to continue the series for sure.
It made sense.
Yeah.
So it's better than the Exorcist Believer.
Oh yes.
Oh god, yeah, leaps and bounds.
Yes, 100%.
Oh, speaking of that, what do you guys think of Mike Flanagan being tapped to direct the next Exorcist sequel?
I'm hoping it has better potential. Like the last one, it just didn't hit. Like it did not have
awful.
a good vibe to it. It just felt awful. Blumhouse has been on a very crappy roll, personally. I think.
And they only were for like 600 million.
Yeah, that blows my mind that they like bought it for that amount. I think it was for like a trilogy, wasn't it?
Yes.
And
Devon, were you part of that? Were you part of that auction? Were you putting up some money to buy the Exorcist?
I wish. I wouldn't be spending that much money though. I'd be like $200 probably.
Yeah.
You'd probably do a better job though.
Yeah, probably.
It just didn't have like, I don't know, it just didn't have the heart like the first original Exorcist.
Agreed.
And it's hard to recapture that. I know that, but it wasn't fun. Like at least the first Omen had a bit more of the vibes of the Omen series.
Yep, and there were some callbacks, but it wasn't too heavy-handed with them. Like the scene with the nun on the balcony,
yes,
that kind of stuff. There are some nice callbacks, but it wasn't all about that. It really did. It really did continue the story.
So with Mike Flanagan doing the second one, I generally really like him.
Yep,
although
same.
not everything. I thought, what was his series on Netflix?
Bly Manor or Haunting of Hill House?
The Haunting of Hill House. I couldn't get through. I thought it was boring.
What about Bly Manor then?
I haven't
Because
seen.
I thought that one was boring.
So I canceled Netflix for a long time. I haven't seen a lot of stuff on there. But his movie output, I think, has been generally very good. But
Yep.
I'm just like, I don't care who you get in. Trying to follow up The Exorcist Believer is going to be a fucking monumental job
Yep,
to try
absolutely.
and like rescue anything from that shit show.
But it's like if Alien Romulus does what it looks like it's going to do,
Right, but
That's
then it can
amazing.
be done.
But
Yeah,
Alien,
it can be done because
right,
the
but
Covenant sucked.
no, but Alien Romulus isn't the second part of a new trilogy.
No, they nixed the third part of a trilogy because Prometheus and Covenant were supposed to be 1 and 2 in a trilogy.
No, I understand. But Romulus is by itself.
Yes,
This,
but it's going to revitalize the franchise.
This Mike Flanagan thing is going to be a sequel to Believer, as far as I know.
I don't know if that's true or not. I know it's a new Exorcist
either going
movie,
to reboot it completely again, or they're going
which
to
I hope they do.
sequel.
They might have to.
Either way, it's going to be very, very difficult to
Yep, I
get
agree.
a lot of that goodwill back because
Yeah. Because there was a lot of hype for Believer before it came out.
Yes.
And I was taken in. I was expecting it. I was hoping
I
for a
wasn't.
great movie.
Remember, I was.
I know.
But I mean, there's certain. I think the Alien universe is set up for sequels. I don't really see the Exorcist universe to be like this. Oh, we can churn out sequel after sequel.
Right.
1, 3. Let's be done with it.
I mean,
It's definitely not Winnie the Pooh Part 2.
so listen, I finally saw Blood and Honey, and I didn't hate it.
The second one there.
No, the first one.
Mm.
The first one was not bad. Like if you suspend everybody, forget about Winnie the Pooh, right, and just watch it as a movie. Like it was not terrible. It was pretty okay.
It had some cool shots, I thought.
Yeah.
To be honest.
So I'm really interested to see what they do with 2. Like I'm not looking forward to The Little Mermaid, which is part of the Pooniverse as they're calling it. Or what was the other one I was not crazy about?
Bambi's coming out soon.
Bambi I'm looking forward to, but Humpty Dumpty looks stupid. And then oh god, there was one more. I can't remember it off
There's
the top
a
of my
Peter Pan one and Pinocchio.
Pinocchio, I don't know how you would do that unless he just gives everybody splinters.
He's got
Peter
a good
Pan.
long nose, Jim. There is a Pinocchio horror movie already.
Yeah, Pinocchio's Revenge. Yep. And the fact that we all know about it is amazing.
Yeah.
The Pooh number 2 is not kind of the same thing.
What?
Pooh number 2. If you're number 2, Jim, you might go Pooh. Just saying.
Can we move on, Mark?
We can.
Thanks.
We can move on like a bowel movement. Yes.
Oh god, it's just not gonna stop.
That's what. Well, you shouldn't take those laxatives.
Okay, Mark, what did you watch?
What did I watch? Oh, so you're going to be very proud of me, Jim.
I doubt it.
I actually watched a full series. Now, Devon, I'm very ADHD.
I don't think X-Men 97 counts, though.
No, but
so good.
But I also watched something different, which was on Netflix.
Then I'm shocked. I think
I actually watched.
I need my nitroglycerin. Hang on.
I watched 6 episodes in like 2 days, which is crazy.
Okay.
I probably watched I did watch it in the wrong order. So, are you familiar with the manga series Parasite?
No.
So, I'm familiar with it. I haven't read it.
Yay for you.
But it's kind of like alien spores come down, right?
Okay.
And it's kind of like body snatchers where they take over people, but it's also like The Thing.
Okay.
Because their heads kind of like come apart and they can use like parts of their heads as like long projectile. It's kind of like Venom too,
Uh-huh.
projectiles. So I watched Parasite: The Gray, which I believe is probably the third part in the live action Parasite universe. I thought
Okay.
it was awesome. It's a South Korean 6 part. I think they're like mostly like 40 to an hour long. Uh, really good. Some of the
Okay.
CGI was middling, but everything else made up for it anyway. And I'm going to go back and watch. I believe the first Parasite series was like from like 10 years ago, and there was a
Okay.
couple of them, so I'm going to go back and watch those. I really, really enjoyed that.
Okay.
Parasite: The Gray.
Nice.
Talking about full moon, Devon. So on Tubi, right, there's a full moon channel.
Yes.
Dedicated to them, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so I watched 1987, I think, The Evil Clergyman, which
That's a new one on me.
is an H.P. Lovecraft story starring Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs. And apparently it was supposed to be some sort of like pilot episode that they were going to do for like an anthology series back in the 80s. But then it was lost, right? They never went through with it. But they found it, I believe, like 10 years ago. So this is like a
Okay.
30-40 minute episode. I was really good because, again, you get all those Reanimator from Beyond type vibes with Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton. Also, what is his name from Reanimator? The other doctor, that
The one in the
the one that he cuts his head off.
yeah.
He's in it. Are you familiar with Lovecraft?
Oh yeah, H.P. Lovecraft,
So
Reanimator, and
right. So this is like I guess not even a story that he wrote. It was something in a
Oh.
letter, but it's got certain parts of Dreams from a Witch House, which
okay.
features Brown Jenkins, which is a rat with a human face who is like the familiar of a witch. And David Gale, I think that's his name, he plays that character. And it's just really good. It's, again, it's 30-40 minutes. It's on Tubi for free. Get all those feels from the 80s, Stuart Gordon, Lovecraft stuff.
Yeah, Stuart Gordon liked his H.P. Lovecraft stuff, and it
Yep.
seemed to suit his style.
Yeah.
I think they did well with expanding on, very short stories, especially like From Beyond. They added so much into that, but it seemed to make sense. Certainly in the 80s with the crazy special effects and the lighting
Yeah.
and everything else.
Because Castle Freak was also a H.P. Lovecraft, I believe.
Yep. And again, that's Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs.
Oh, I love Jeffrey Combs is so cool, and he like it could be a really bad movie, but he
Yep.
still puts a lot of effort into acting. It feels like
He's kind of like Bruce Campbell, right? I think he's one of those like Tom Atkins, Bruce Campbell, Jeffrey Combs, Robert Englund, one of
Brad
the
Dourif.
80s. Yep, Brad Dourif. Oh, man. One of those 80s kind of icons that are just so good. They just elevate everything that they're in.
They put a lot into like that. Like even Crispin Glover, I find like he
Oh, yeah.
puts so much into it. Like Jeffrey Combs, I've always been a fan of, and I've seen some bad movies with him, but he stands out throughout the whole movie, and he seems like he's trying his best to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Would You Rather?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's great in that too. Which I didn't even know he was in it, and then I'm like, oh my god, there he is.
He
Yep.
was in a new movie as well as it played at the Saskatoon Dark Festival, and our movie is playing there, The Killer Balloon, and he was in a horror film, and it was good. I was shocked. I was like, oh shit, Jeffrey Combs is in this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, and again, it's like Barbara Crampton, right? She's had a renaissance recently, as far as starring in a bunch of horror movies. So it's great to it's nostalgia, Jim. You like nostalgia?
I have no problem with nostalgia. You're the one that hates it.
No, you don't. When it's done right.
What, what else you got, Mark?
That's I've been playing Dragon's Dogma 2 a little bit.
Don't know it.
It's like a medieval RPG thing.
Okay.
But again, with my ADHD, it's hard to get into anything. So.
Gaming's terrible for me.
Oh, especially like an RPG where you're supposed to like drop, a lot of hours into it to get anything out of it. So
Right.
I don't know. We'll take it as it goes.
That's fair.
Jim?
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. So, Mark, I got to see 2 screeners this week for new movies. One is a movie called New Life. It is a new take, well, a relatively new take, in my opinion, on the zombie flick. It's a slow burn, and it is very character-driven, and you see very little of the infected. I think you only see them twice until the end of the film. And that's when the main character is figuring things out. So it takes place. Jess is the main character. She wakes up and she's trying to escape from a facility, and then Elsa is tasked with bringing her back. And that's all I'm going to say about the movie, because it's in the UK. It's being released in June, and then it will be released on video on demand here in the States in July. But it is a solid film. It's so well done.
So it's almost like Pontypool.
I honestly don't remember much about Pontypool, so I couldn't say
as
for
far
sure.
as your description, right? You don't really see what's going on, but I'm sure you hear about it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. But this also takes place at what could potentially be the beginning of an outbreak. So it's not widespread yet. Also, Elsa, the character that is hunting or trying to bring Jess back, is battling ALS, and it's rapid onset. So she's got her own challenges to deal with, and it's really well done. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to.
So here's something which I sometimes think about. Like,
Mm-hmm.
do you ever watch like a movie, or just could be a horror movie or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Very few people have like the flu or anything in it, and then they have to like try and survive. Everybody's like super fit and just can do whatever. But you know, when you're really sick, and you don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
Nah, that's a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fighting off the undead while you have the flu.
Yeah.
Flu undead. Blundad.
Right.
That's a new movie.
Yep.
Devon, you can take that one too for free.
It's gonna be like Misery, but like being a zombie film.
Yeah.
Right. So the other movie I got to watch was by Terror Films. It's called Island of the Dolls, and it's a low budget flick. It does suffer a little on the story side, but the acting's decent. It's not terrible. I did like the story. It's about an island in somewhere in Mexico, or somewhere. Yes.
Yeah.
So a man's daughter has died, and her spirit now possesses the island, and the dolls are there as tribute. My favorite part of the movie was there's one scene where a man is bashing his head against the tree.
Yeah.
And when they pull him away from the tree, you can see the rubber move. It's hysterical. I laughed so hard because they're pulling his hands away, and you could just see it bounce as his hands, and then it just shakes a little bit. They obviously did not pull the camera away enough, and I thought it was fantastic. The movie itself was fair. It wasn't terrible. I've seen much worse, but I thought it was interesting for what it was.
There's damning with faint praise. I've seen much worse. Put that on the cover.
Nobody's asking me to write blurbs, Mark, so you're okay.
I wonder why.
Other than that, we've started the Dead Boy Detective Agency on Netflix. That's pretty solid for a YA ghost show. I think it's pretty fun. And then what do I have for audiobooks this week? So I've been really it's been bad for me with reading this last month or so because I'm a mood reader and nothing's hitting me right. Like I haven't really enjoyed anything. So I should just not do book reviews right now
I'm
because it's
shocked.
not.
I'm shocked, Jim.
It's just it's all about my mood with reading, and it's just none of it's hit right. So I'm not even going to talk about books. Oh, I do want to talk about a book. I lied because this is probably what did it to me. There's a book called The Dark Side of Hell. It is probably the most vile book I've ever read in my life. Like it's extreme horror, and I never do extreme horror, but it didn't have any of my trigger warnings on it, so I went through it, and I had to skip 2 scenes, but I made it through the entire book, and I was pretty proud of myself because the dinner scene in that book had me retching physically. It was freaking disgusting.
Devon,
Mark?
do you have any thoughts about that?
Like, what's your trigger warnings for like what
Yeah.
do you consider?
I cannot handle any sort of sexual abuse
Yeah.
or
Okay.
sexual assault. That's a big issue for me. And suicide, if it's handled incorrectly, is a problem. If it's handled with
Okay.
respect,
He's
I'm
gone.
okay with it
It's
sometimes,
frozen.
but
Yeah.
for the most part, oh god, I'm falling off. There we go. Am I back?
You're back.
What part did I cut out on? I have no idea.
No, we heard everything. You don't have to repeat anything at all, Jim.
Okay, fantastic, perfect. So that's really it. The Dark Side of Hell is probably the most disgusting book I've ever read, but I was proud of myself for making it through.
Devin, do you get disgusted by anything like movies or books or anything? Is there anything you were like, I can't handle that?
I wouldn't say like disgusted. Like it takes a lot for me to be disgusted by like gore and all that
Yep.
because it's fake, right? So it's
Yep.
hard. It's in real gore. That's the funny thing. I love horror movies. I love all that
Yeah.
stuff. But when it comes to like real gore, I was like, oh, that's disgusting. I feel I'm gonna turn white and shit. So
Yeah.
people laugh at me all the time. I'm like, I know horror movies are all fake and you can see it, but like in
Right.
real life, you see that stuff. It makes me kind of a bit nauseous and like
Yep.
not feeling great, especially if it happens to yourself too, right? It's like,
Right.
100%.
but I don't ever put any scenes of rape in my movies
Mm-hmm.
ever, just because I don't think it's necessary to show it.
Yep.
You can definitely hint at it or kind of apply, like show stuff, but not full out.
Right.
I've never shown any rape scenes in my movies. Even in like watching scenes of rape, it makes me definitely feel a bit uncomfortable, and I usually fast forward it.
Yep.
Another one that's big one is animal death.
Yep.
I don't like it. I hate seeing it. I don't think it's necessary. I find, and a lot of horror movies do have animal death. Like it sucks because you know it's gonna come. Like Hills Have Eyes. There's a scene with the German Shepherd getting killed there, and that's sad. And there's a bit of a rape scene there too, right? So I was like, holy moly.
But in a way, like The Hills of Eyes, it's like not only a rape revenge movie, it's a dog being killed revenge movie with the other dog getting revenge.
Yep.
So
I love that. I loved how the Edder German Shepherd, his I can't remember what one died, Beauty or the Beast. I can't remember what one passed away. Beauty passed away?
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, Beast
was
decided to take the revenge on the mutants, cannibals killing the Beauty. And I thought that was really well done, and it made me cheer for this dog too. I was like, yeah, fuck those guys. Kill them.
Right.
Is there any other movie where, other than like maybe Orca, where there's an animal that comes back for revenge and you're like, hell yeah. Now, I'm all for animals killing people in movies, like no matter what, but ones where they're specifically coming back to get like exact revenge.
The Prophecy, right?
The bear.
79.
Oh my god, that bear scene was so
Right,
good with
right?
the
but
sleeping bag.
one of the bands in that is just trying to survive. I think, right? It's been a while since
I
I've seen it.
I don't think, like, I know for part of it she was going back for her dead cub,
Yes.
but
Okay,
I don't remember, to be honest, what the motivation was for the rest of it.
because I know definitely Orca. Um,
But it was the same thing,
Orca,
right? They gutted the female on the boat, and then they washed the calf over the
right?
edge.
Yeah, makes me sad even thinking about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I
You're awful.
I I know even like Cujo, like the dog has rabies and is trying to kill Dee Wallace and that. But I was like, oh, I don't want the dog to die.
right.
I, I,
But there's unfortunately no other outcome when it comes to rabies once it's
Yeah,
happened.
exactly.
I can't think of a movie where I want the humans to survive over even a creature like Alien. I want the alien to kill everyone.
Right, and Jonesy is the only one you want to survive.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jonesy's. That's what
Jonesy.
Eli Roth said that in an interview recently. He's like, I'm so focused on that cat to survive that whole movie more than the movie itself.
Yep. And she did. She survived two of them
Yes.
because she stayed back on the space station. Remember?
Yes, she did.
I'll be right back.
And then another good example, I'm not sure if you guys are fans of Eli Roth, but in Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
I thought that scene was brilliant and it made me laugh is when the killer didn't do anything to that cat and
Right.
gave that cat extra treats and left. I was like,
Yep.
oh, that's so good.
That was great. I liked Thanksgiving. I thought that was a lot of fun. But so we were talking. So I'm not a big fan of spice in my books, right?
Yeah.
When I read, I don't need sex, especially you have two extremes with horror, right? It's either just gratuitous sex or it's sex to be extreme, so they make it really disgusting. And I don't need either, really. But there's a book called Board Gay Werewolf
Okay.
where they have a sex scene, right? And the whole time during the sex scene I couldn't stop laughing because there's a chihuahua attacking one of the guys. I was dying. It was so funny.
That's good.
Mark, are you back?
I am back. Thank you.
So
What
yeah,
else you got?
those are the two things not a fan of and I won't put in my movies really.
Yep.
That's basically it. Like I'm pretty good with the gore and all that. It doesn't affect me at all for fake stuff.
So kids are on the table in your movies too?
I have
I don't
had
mean that literally.
yeah.
You're right.
I've had people dying that were kids in that, and yeah, like it's a taboo thing too. But it seems like my people that are watching my movies are like they're more shocked if I were to kill an animal more than a
Right.
kid, which is crazy. But
They're normal, moral people.
yeah. But no, like I've had kids in my movies, and it's interesting that these kids are like so pumped up to like die in a horror movie too. They're like, there I am doing a scene with them recently, and every one of them were like, yeah, spray me with blood and all that. So there I am spraying these kids with blood with a weed sprayer and spraying their legs and face and that, and they're all laughing and all that. I was like, this is great. They're having a blast.
So we've had authors on that right in the indie horror community, and Mark always asks every single one of them, "Can you kill me in one of your stories, please?" Always.
Well, Jim,
Mark, has it come true yet, Mark?
no, but it has for you. I wonder why.
Twice.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't take that as a positive thing, Jim.
Why? Everybody wants to be killed off in a horror story. Why is that not positive?
Because really, they're putting on to paper what they would like to do in real life.
Again, I'm okay with that.
Me too.
So, Mark, what else you got?
That's it. Devon, do you want to tell everyone again where they can hook up with your stuff and get your movies, future projects, anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, for sure. People can go on our Facebook page or Instagram, and we have a link up there for our online store. It features all our DVDs, and we have 15 DVDs out right now. We're releasing Gorfer's Final Gnaw on May 11th at our local pub. we have been sold out for a while, and there's about 125 people that have bought tickets for it.
Nice.
And our last 4 movies have sold out, so it's pretty cool that our last 4 ones have sold out. It's a big honor to keep on getting this cult following, basically.
Right.
And all the money goes to SPCA. We've raised over $30,000 over the few years here for the dogs and cats. We probably raised about $15,000 for the Lyceum Theater in Gull Lake to help them out and keep them around. They're a nonprofit theater, and they're all volunteer based. So I want that theater to keep on going as long as possible, because I know that's going to be coming up in a few years where movie theaters are starting to get cut out, sadly. And yeah, our last movie is Gorfer's Final Gnaw. It's the final chapter. I have made a promise to myself in the past that I will never go over 3 in a series, and I've never done that yet, and I'm keeping a promise to that word. I'm never going to do another Gorfer's movie, and they're going to pop up in like shorts or something like that, but there'll never be a full-length film for them ever again. So I'm hoping it goes off in a good storyline for them for one last hurrah.
Right. I'm looking forward to those 2. I think those will be the first 2 I buy.
Oh, Gorfer's is one of our bigger ones, I'd say. And like Zomageddon.
Yep.
Killer Balloon has definitely blown past people's minds. Yeah, pun there.
Yeah.
But like, it's wild. Like, that went to Toronto Terrible Fest 666. It won an award, which is like that VHS tape back there.
Nice.
That's our little award that we won for best audience. The audience picked their favorite horror movie of that festival.
Oh, nice.
And it's cool because it's in Toronto, so it's not like biased. It's not like people in Swift Current were like, oh yeah, they're our friends that have made this film. So these are people that don't know us. They picked our movie being like the best one, which is a huge honor.
That's awesome.
And then Saskatoon approached us to have us go out there to have Killer Balloon in their film festival. And we were the only Canadian horror film there, which is shocking.
Yeah. That's pretty amazing, though.
Oh, it's huge. It's a huge honor to have that. And it's neat how we can ship DVDs off to like anywhere in the US and Canada. Like, it's not just Saskatchewan anymore. We've expanded to different places now.
That's amazing.
If you ever come down to Florida, you have to let us know. It's a little warm down here.
Yeah. Oh, I wish. Yeah, I went to LA last year, and that was awesome. I liked the weather there.
Yeah. That's fair. Well, Devon, thank you very much for joining us today. This has been awesome, and I cannot wait to see what else you come up with.
Awesome. Thank you so much for you guys for inviting me and chatting about horror movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for putting up with Gene.
Oh, it was awesome.
Mostly me.